Welcome back. In the previous session we have started the lesson Animal Kingdom, wherein we have discussed the basis of classification of Animal Kingdom. We know that Animal Kingdom can be grouped into different phylums based on their body organization, germ layers, that is whether they are diploblastic or triploblastic. What is the symmetry? Is it asymmetrical, radial symmetry or bilateral symmetry based on the presence and absence of coelom? It could be acoelomate, pseudocoelomate or a coelomate. Digestion, circulation, respiration and excretory systems, whether they are present or absent. If they are present, whether it is complete or incomplete. And also regarding their reproduction and development, whether the organisms are hermaphrodites, whether they are unisexual or bisexual, and the type of development, is it direct development or indirect development. If fertilization takes place, is it taking place inside the body, internal fertilization, or is it taking place outside the body, external fertilization, and habitat and examples. So that is what we will be studying in today's session. Currently there are 11 phylum under kingdom Animalia. So in some books you would find that it is 10 phylum, whereas in some others it is 9 also. In our NCERT textbook it is mentioned that there are 11 phylum. The reason is because the 10th phylum, that is Hemichordata, was once placed under Chordata. So that is the reason there are 10 phylum, but later it was removed from phylum Chordata and made as a separate phylum. So today we will be studying the 11th phylum under kingdom Animalia. So in brief we will be discussing this, and in the next session we will be concluding the lesson. So let us get started. The first phylum is named Porifera. Commonly they are called as sponges. So these are the sponges. They are mostly aquatic in nature, present in both freshwater as well as marine water. Example: sponge, Cycon, Euspongia, Spongilla. So two examples are sufficient, Cycon and Spongilla. The characteristic feature of phylum Porifera is these are organisms that bear pores all over their body. Their entire body is covered with fine pores. So Porifera, pore bearing organisms, pore bearing animals. So these minute pores which is present all over the body is called as ostia. So through these pores or ostia, water enters into the body, and inside it is a hollow cavity is present. Along with the water, food and minerals will also enter. Digestion takes place in the hollow cavity, and there is only one opening through which water can get out. So water enters through the ostia and it gets out through an opening called as the osculum, which could be considered as the mouth. So that is the body organization of Porifera. Sometimes some of the sponges could have certain ossicles present in them, or spicules, which are crystal-like structures which provide stability and strength to the body of the sponge. Sponges are mostly sessile, that is they are attached to certain rocks or some strong structure, so they are attached to the rocks, so they are sessile. The body of the Porifera, it shows cellular organization. So the body is not organized into tissues, so which is a very basic form of organization. So evolutionarily speaking, these are the most primitive animals we could think of present in water. The germ layers, there are two germ layers, so we can call them as diploblastic organisms. Even though the cells are loosely arranged, two layers could be seen. So these are diploblastic organisms, and as you already know, they exhibit asymmetry. That is, their body cannot be divided into two equal halves from any plane of axis. That is asymmetrical, and of course coelom is absent. There is no true body cavity, it is absent. Digestion, circulation, respiration, excretion, all are absent. There is no digestive system. So digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory system and excretory system, so these are absent because they exhibit cellular level of organization. So there are no tissues, no organs, no organ systems. Simple diffusion is what helps in excretion, transportation, respiration and digestion. Water and food enter through the ostia. Digestion takes place inside the central cavity, and when water moves out through the osculum, all the waste materials etc. is also thrown out. So that is about their metabolic processes. And coming to their reproduction, the mode of reproduction in Porifera, it is both asexual as well as sexual. In asexual reproduction, the body of the sponge can break into pieces, that is fragments, and these fragments can grow into a new sponge. So fragmentation is seen in these animals because the body design is very simple, made up of basic cells. There are no tissues present. So fragmentation is seen. Sponges also produce certain structures called as gemule cups. So these gemule cups can also produce new sponges, and sexual reproduction is seen. The sponges are hermaphrodites, that is both the male and female sexual organs are present in the same organisms. So sexes are not separate. So these are hermaphrodite animals. We can see that they are bisexual. The male and female reproductive organs, they produce the gametes. Fertilization is external and development is mostly indirect. That is, there are larval stages which are seen during the developmental process. So the zygote will undergo division to give you larva, which is different from the adult stage. So that is about the first phylum, Porifera, whose body is covered with pores. Another interesting point to note here is the inner cavity which is present, the hollow cavity inside the body, it is lined by specialized cells called as choanocytes or collar cells. These choanocytes, they play an important role in digestion as well as in respiration. So choanocytes or collar cells, they line the internal cavity. This is not a true cavity, it is just a cavity. So that is about Porifera, the first phylum. Moving on to the second phylum, that is Cnidaria, or also called as Coelenterata. They get the name Cnidaria because of the presence of specialized cells called as cnidoblasts or cnidocytes. So these have cnidoblasts or cnidocytes. These cells will help in defense, in locomotion, as well as in capturing the food. So these are important cells called as cnidoblasts, also called as stinging cells. So this will attack the prey and help them in defense mechanism, also in movement. The best example for Coelenterata or Cnidaria is Hydra, which is what you have studied in your lower classes, and these are once again aquatic. They could be attached to certain rocks or they could be free living. They can show movement on their own, being animals. Hydra is an example, Physalia is example, Adamsia, jellyfish, that is Aurelia. So we will take two examples, Hydra and Aurelia. As examples for phylum Coelenterata. Physalia is called as Portuguese man of war. Then we have Adamsia, Hydra, Aurelia. Looking at the body organization, Cnidaria, they show tissue level of organization. So cells are grouped into specialized tissues, and they also are diploblastic organisms having a outer ectoderm and an inner endoderm. Inside the inner endoderm, there is a gastrovascular cavity. This should not be confused with coelom. Coelom is absent. So they have a gastrovascular cavity called as a coelenteron. That is why the name Coelenterata. All the digestion, excretion, etc. takes place inside the gastrovascular cavity. Symmetry wise, they exhibit radial symmetry. That is, any plane of axis can divide the body into two equal halves. So they exhibit radial symmetry, and these are acoelomate, that is, the coelom is absent. There are cells of cnidoblast will also help in capturing the food and also in digestion. So the coelenteron cavity will help in digestion, respiration, as well as in excretion. Specialized organs are not present for respiration, digestion, excretion, etc. Water is the medium, once again, through which all waste is thrown out, food is digested, and exchange of gases also takes place through the water medium. Now, when it comes to body form of the Cnidaria or Coelenterata, these exhibit two types of body forms, polyp and medusa. So the example for polyp form is Hydra. The polyp body form is cylindrical, as you can see in the diagram of Adamsia, Hydra. There is a cylindrical body and it is sessile, it is attached to the rock or some other organism. So these do not move. Whereas the second body form called as medusa, it is exhibited by Aurelia, that is the jellyfish. They have a umbrella-like structure as opposed to the cylindrical structure. So they have umbrella shaped body, and these are free living. They can move on their own. They show movement. Example, jellyfish or Aurelia. Talking about reproduction, Hydra and some other forms, they show asexual reproduction, that is by budding, fragmentation are seen, and sexual reproduction is seen. Once again, there is no separate male and female. Both the male and female organs are present in the same body, so they are also hermaphrodites or bisexual. In the case where the two body forms are shown, that is polyp and medusa, what happens is the polyp will produce the medusa through asexual reproduction, and the medusa body form will produce polyps through sexual reproduction. So you can see what is called as metagenesis in the event of reproduction. The fertilization is external and development is indirect. That is, some larval forms could be seen during the process of metamorphosis. So this is all about phylum Coelenterata. The famous corals are also examples for Coelenterata. Sometimes the corals could be hard due to the presence of calcium carbonate, which gives them strength and stability. So calcium carbonate crystals could be acting as a skeleton. So coral reefs which are present under water, they are excellent source of biodiversity. The Great Barrier Reef present in Australia is the largest group of coral reef in the world. These are like mini forests underwater. They are home to diversity of fishes and other animals, and as well as aquatic plants. So protection of these coral reefs is very, very important, because due to global warming and water pollution, it is observed that these animals, the corals, are affected, and because of which the entire aquatic ecosystem could be disturbed. So corals are also good examples for Coelenterata. Moving on to the third phylum, that is Tinofora. Tinofora are also present in water. It is represented by Tinoplana, that is an organism, Tinoplana, and Pleurobrachia. Examples for Tinofora. These organisms belonging to Tinofora, they are also called as comb jellies or sea walnuts. The characteristic feature of Tinofora is that their outer body is divided into 8 rows of distinct specialized structures called as comb plates. So comb plates can be seen as 8 distinct rows on the body. These comb plates, they help in locomotion as well as in capturing the prey. So that is Tinofora. Tinofora, these animals, they also exhibit what is called as bioluminescence. Most of the animals of Tinofora, they naturally emit light. This phenomenon is called as bioluminescence, which is a characteristic feature of Tinofora. The body is once again, it shows tissue level of organization. There are two germ layers, fibroblastic, and even Tinofora exhibits radial symmetry and coelom is absent. Specialized organs for digestion, excretion, circulation and respiration are also absent. So organs are not present because only tissues are seen. Comb plates, they show sexual reproduction, and once again organisms are bisexual. There is no separate male and female. Fertilization is external and development could be direct or indirect. That is about the third phylum, Tinofora, called as comb jellies or sea walnuts. Moving on to phylum number 4, that is Platyhelmanthus. Platyhelmanthus are called as flatworms because the body is dorsiventrally flat, like Thallophyta. It is dorsiventrally flattened, like so. They are called as flatworms. These Platyhelmanthus could be either free living or parasitic. So these are the worms. Parasitic, or they could be free living. Most of the animals are parasitic, that is present inside the body of other animals. Best examples for Platyhelmanthus or flatworm is liver fluke, then planaria, tapeworm. All these are examples for Platyhelmanthus. So liver fluke and planaria. Platyhelmanthus, they show organ level of body organization. Certain simple organs are present. For example, like hook and suckers. Because these are parasites, they are living inside the body of other animals. They need to attach themselves to the cells and organs of the host animal. So they have hooks and suckers to attach themselves. These suckers will also help to absorb nutrition from the body of the host. They can use suckers or directly they can absorb the nutrients from the animal. Number of layers. So Platyhelmanthus, they exhibit triploblastic, that is, they have 3 germ layers: outer ectoderm, inner endoderm, and there is a middle mesoderm that is present. In spite of that, coelom is absent. Coelom is not seen, and they exhibit bilateral symmetry. That is, a single plane of axis can divide the animal into 2 equal halves. So bilateral symmetry. Coelom is absent. The Platyhelmanthus, they have flame cells which help in excretion of waste materials. Digestion is incomplete. That is, the alimentary canal, it does not have 2 separate openings. There is a single opening through which food is taken and through which waste is thrown out. So incomplete digestive system is seen. Specialized organs called as flame cells will help in the process of excretion, that is removal of waste, and also it helps in osmoregulation, that is maintaining a balance of water and salt inside the cells. So that is flame cells. The flatworms, these are also hermaphrodites or bisexual. There is no separate male and female. Both the organs are present in the same organism and they exhibit sexual reproduction. Fertilization is internal and development could be direct or indirect. There could be larval forms which will then grow into the adult form. Some of the organisms, for example planaria, they show excellent capacity to regenerate. That is, if you cut the body of the organism into pieces, each piece can regrow into a complete organism. For example, planaria. So regeneration capacity is seen in the organisms. And that is all about the flatworms or Platyhelmanthus. Moving on to the next phylum called as Ascalmanthus or also Nematoda. These are what we call as the worms. These are also mostly parasites or they could be free living. So once again, like the flatworms, they are present inside the body of both plants as well as animals. So that is your worms. Commonly these are called as roundworms. Nematodes or Ascalmanthus, they are called as roundworms. It is because the body is cylindrical, it is elongated. But when you take a cross section of the body and observe under microscope, the section, it has a circular outline. So because the cross section appears circular, they are called as roundworms. It's not that the worms are round in shape. No, worms are long, elongated and cylindrical in shape. But they have a circular outline in cross section. So they are called as roundworms. The roundworms, they also show organ level of body organization. These are triploblastic. They also show bilateral symmetry and they exhibit what is called as a pseudocoelom. These are pseudocoelomates. That is, mesoderm is present, but the mesoderm is seen as circular pouches present between the ectoderm and the endoderm. So that is what is called as a pseudocoelom. True coelom is absent. The digestive system, respiratory system, excretory system, etc. are not so well developed because these are parasitic organisms present inside other animals or host, so they don't require such specialized structures. So these are incomplete or absent. The male and female are distinct, so these are unisexual organisms. They have a separate male and they have separate female. Females are usually longer than the males. Fertilization is internal, development is indirect, but the larva and the adult, they look similar to each other. There is not much difference between. So we find sexual reproduction in Nematoda or the round worms. Example, Ascaris and hookworm are examples for this phylum. So mostly they are parasites or free living.